most of us that have been meditating for a long time, practicing yoga for a long time, this is your test. Why were we sitting on the mat for, I don't know, for the past 25 years of my life? What was I perfecting? The ability to sit and meditate on a daily basis, the ability of doing yoga and flowing with my body. It was not only about keeping my physical body healthy. It was about training a certain strength of my mind. Have I failed? Yes. Have I picked myself up? Yes. So I think when we get into this more flexible aspect is not trying to be something that we're not, because it gives you, again, the feeling of being in control and telling people that I'm super fine. Something else that has happened recently is most of the time I am really well. I feel super blessed. I can still do my work from a place of feeling centered. So in all fairness, it feels as if it's politically incorrect when people say, how are you, with a kind of a worried voice, like, you know, you and your daughter are away and you live away from your family, and how are you guys doing? And to be honest, we are well. Not that we are superior in any way, but there is a sense of remaining with what's showing up and never losing sight of everything I have to be grateful for. Things could be so bad. And at the same time, understanding that I am flowing and I'm soaking on that energy field like everybody else, you know. But most of the time, I can say that the practices that I have been teaching for a long period of time and what I have been testing myself, being tested on, most of the time I find a way. So it's not about getting to that space, because I never think we will, but find a way and be comfortable with finding that way. And I really, as you all know, I'm a big fan of meditation, and you can meditate in many different ways. But I always spoke about a GPS that we carry in our hearts, and it's kind of a human device. No one has a better, more sophisticated device than another human. And this GPS, basically for me, it's called God Power Speaking. And it's how much you can be attuned to that. And that basically switches on the channel of intuition. We are navigating to a place. Normally, what's a GPS? You give a starting point and you give a point where you want to go, and then it throws a signal to a satellite and you start receiving commands. Right, left, right, U-turn, whatever. And now we don't know. So how can we make benefit of this GPS, which is like, okay, you know your starting point, and your desire is like, the end is just peace. So imagine that you can flow through a process that you don't know where you're going to land, but everything through that process is done with tranquility. How does everything change if you know that you can practice the muscle of feeling resilient? It doesn't mean that you're going to be like in an Om peaceful state all the time. But resilience for me is, I'm not, and I'm okay with not being 100% peaceful. And then I go back on that path again, and this is how it is. It's basically flowing. But peace is your guide. We're trying to use our peace, our state of mind in a more tranquil place as a guideline. This is where we're going, our north. So some of us are affected physically, immediately in the situation that we're in. Some of us are already getting the economical part of it being affected, but most of us are affected mentally. And this is where I want to touch on. We talk about pandemics and we talk about whatever is happening now. And if we were to add up mental illness and consumption of any kind of medicine related to mental illness or anxiety, we would know that the pandemic that we're really facing, yes, this is a beginning of showing how this society is organized in a crazy way, how we have organized ourselves and accepted to be part of something that's organized in a crazy way. So every time I understand that I need to numb myself more and more and more, what's beneath that layer? It's never anything pretty. We are trying to numb and distract ourselves from pain. And where is this pain coming from? So if we start to investigate and address things in a different way, this can be a great opportunity for change. And as I said in the beginning, it's not because I know that I'm not ignoring the grief and the pain that a lot of people are in. And on the light of compassion and empathy, if we draw a line here, I can have deep compassion for you. which is I can watch you from the other side of the fence and nourish you and care for you and really be there for you. But we have to be careful with being empathetically overwhelmed or taken away by empathy, which means now I'm jumbled with you. I have to be in your pain. I have to be mixed with you. I cannot help you if I'm in that energy. And this is something that I say as a professional. This is my field of work. And for every single professional that works on my same field of work, take care of yourselves. Learn how to back off. Remember the metaphor of someone drowning. You will be of no use. So this is a marathon. We cannot start running crazy like this is a sprint. You know, how many Zoom parties can we do to kind of like pick our energy up? That's fabulous. That's fabulous. But at the same time, I am a firm believer that many of us are in a place of fear because of what can happen financially. We just want status quo to come back to normal as quick as we can. However, there's a however in the story. The same way I told you that I think that we create things by holding a very dense thought collectively. How many of us really don't want to go back to that life? And we think, I have to. But to be honest, I'm kind of enjoying spending time not being so rushed. Or I would just love to be able to go out and take a breather because I'm feeling confined, or I have to share space with the family, or whatever roles you're being forced to play simultaneously can be a bit suffocating. So let's imagine that that's not the case. Let's imagine that you can just see the beauties that are showing up. And curiosity is a wonderful, wonderful agent to stop that. Whenever you look at things like, I've been looking at things around my house that I haven't seen before, right? Just because I had someone to help me and now I don't. So from scrubbing the floor and doing the cooking and cleaning after myself and, you know, making beds and doing things that are so important. They might not be in the beginning considered as something pleasurable. And I'll just make a public confession that I used to say, but you know, the time that I'm wasting scrubbing a house or whatever is a time I could be having, you know, doing better things with my time. And now I would just think very differently. That time is very useful and it can be very productive and it can do something very different to my frame of mind, and it's a different level of productivity and honoring as well. Okay, so I think we have to pay attention to that, you know, like constantly ask yourself, what am I learning? What am I learning about myself? What am I learning about my relationship with my child? What am I learning about friendships? What am I learning about my family? Some of you are stuck with them, but some of you are expats like me, and we are not even close to be able to be physically close and comforted by our families. And then what are we learning about that? One of the things that's important whenever we understand that we are in the middle of something that we do not know where we're going, we do not know what was happening, is to pace yourself. And I'll tell you what I came up with. I was thinking about this morning, and like pace, you know. I have been into sports all my life, and I know exactly what that means, So if you are anywhere interested to anything more physical, you will know that if you start running in a wrong pace, you are done. You'll know that you could be training for months, and if your mind takes you to a funny place, you are done. So every single thing that we have done in other aspects of your life can now be drawn into this opportunity to be used as information of true lessons that can truly help you to overcome what's happening. So my understanding of pace is, P for me can start by productive listening and listening to your emotional landscape. You have to know what's the starting point. Where is your starting point? If I start a race and I already feel that I'm anxious and my heart is pounding, I'll have to slow down to pick up my breath and pick up my heart rate, and then I can go back to my normal rhythm if this was compared metaphorically to a run or something like that. Now, whatever I'm gathering from my listening to my internal landscape is pace. So the A for pace would be act upon my listening. which is, okay, this is where my starting point is. This is what I have to do to take care of myself now. And C of PACE would be compassion. And compassion would be compassion to self first. It's very easy to keep on wanting to listen to people, to be available for people. And again, sometimes we are really interested to be in zillions of calls a day because it numbs you from that place that you are. It's difficult for you to be. You know, you're distracted even by listening to someone else that's suffering more. It might make you feel good about yourself. It might poison you. So we are having to pay attention and to step into that sense of compassion, which is like deep respect to what you're feeling and where you're at. Deep respect to what the family members, how the family members are taking this. I have an adolescent at home. It's not a good age. It is challenging when you are in the age of rebellion and exploration. Someone says, no, not going anywhere. So all of that has to be taken in consideration. And E of PACE, effort to stay with pace. So the effort would be attention reading. Now you have to make an effort to stay on your pace. Again, going back to that same metaphor, when I run with music and I'm listening to something, a music that I love, I kind of pick up my pace in a rhythm that's not a rhythm that I can keep up for long. It's just excitement with what I'm listening. And it's very productive not to let that happen. So to have that effort to remain with pace is to constantly keep running that check-in. Observe your landscape. Pay attention to what's showing up in that landscape moment by moment. Also have that kind of take a step back for you to be able to create that sense of curiosity that the person beside you is going through the same thing. And how are we not too hard on them? Pushing them, wanting them to become this amazing person or to do things we're trying to teach them for I don't know how many zillions of years to make them now be the best partner, to want to have them be now my therapist and listen to, I mean, it's not even realistic, it's not even fair. So PACE can help you whenever we're finding this moments of going up and down, we're looking for something that can work, that can help us go through this whole process in a healthier way and support each other in the best way. So I hope you pace yourself, and until the next T and Dharma Talk.